Anyway, we were talking about raps and the lights and seeing lights, which is the soul coming to visit to help. And when you ask for this help, that's how you receive it. You get somebody to come and help. And they'll sometimes give you a light to let you know there's somebody here helping you. You can be writing a script, or you can be writing a letter, you can be reading a book, and there's some good information there. You can even get the little white light on the page. And it goes across the page, showing that they're there reading with you and telling you to pay attention to this little part of the book. And I see it on the computer. It goes right across my computer screen as I'm working on the computer and I'm writing. That they're right there helping me all the time. So it's a confirmation that you're never alone. Once you open up to the universe, you really are a universal soul. You're here, you're doing what you came here to be, and you're going back home to the universe to a very high level. You don't need to deal with any of this lower stuff anymore. And you complete your mistakes and your lessons and you just move on to higher and higher levels. We were talking so much before about the comet ship, but when this comet ship comes is supposed to be to let us all know everything that we are talking about here in the books and to confirm it. And Jesus says that he will be working with me, and of course I'm assuming that will happen right after the comet ship. Now I'm not sure if he's going to actually say that he will be working through Ron, but I wouldn't doubt if it did happen. It wouldn't bother me one bit, because I've kind of felt his vibration for some time, that he's preparing to work for me. And every time we had conversations in this direction, and spoke to Jesus and had writings from him, that he said, it's not ready yet, the time isn't right, just enjoy the process and just have to wait. It's all going to come, all good things in the right time. And many times have said to me, you know, Ron, that timing is everything. And everything is timing. And that's how things come together in our life. When the time is right and is ready, and you have earned and got things out of the way to receive that, that will come to you. It will unfold. That'll be part of it. And with the comet ship coming, it's going to change the whole world, because it's the greatest happening in the history of the earth. Greater than anything that's ever happened. And from that point on, it's just change, change, change. And it's so in line right now to what we voted into Washington is for change. People want change. They don't want any more. And green, green, green. You're seeing go green here, go green there, green everything. I noticed lately so many girls are wearing green, lime green, lime green. It's like a color all coming back from the 60s, I think, is when it was quite popular. And that is the same color as the comet ship. And so that lime green is being given to us at all times, 24/7, for us to heal, to change our attitudes and change our ways. And also, by the way, we're talking about colors, Saturn, the planet Saturn, sends yellow to this earth, especially to change attitudes, to lift our vibration and change attitudes. So whenever we see flashes of yellow, when we close and blink our eyes or whatever, we just see a flash of yellow or a color, no matter what the color it is, it all has a meaning. Pinks are love, you see that. Red is energy, and blues and violets are wonderful healing and spiritual colors, and they all have meaning, because the universe, once we get out of the atmosphere of our earth and into the universe, is all color. Different colors moving at all times, in all directions. All color and light. There's no darkness. The only darkness, as I've said many times, is on earth. It has been created by man. Prior to that creation, there wasn't even any darkness on earth until the corruption set in. Corruption has created this darkness. Non-progressive souls. And we are on this earth 1 million years behind. The civilization that I mentioned about that moves things by the thought or the mind, just thinking it, making move it, is 1 million years ahead of us, and that's where we should be. But we did not make the progress they did. And that's in another universe. They said as we grow a little bit more, they will give us more information of the outlining universes. But you got enough to handle with your own universe now than to be worrying about the star universe next to us. But that's the next universe that is right next to us. There's several alien planets. There's 2 other planets they tell us also on that in that star universe that are material. And I think one's called Conron and the other's called Narcissus. The name of those planets. And but they are trying to really get rid of all material on all planets. They don't want any more material. They want us to be exposed to only spiritual way of life. The material is causing too much problem. It's what's creating the greed, because people want to take and make and get it all wound up in material things instead of thinking of their spirituality. Because the spiritual growth is what's the only important thing. Spiritually growing our own souls and advancing to higher and higher levels, or planes. They call them planes. This is the first time that they've brought the name, I believe, it's called planes. Some people have received information, they call them dimensions. Well, the universe separates it as dimensions are within each plane. For instance, the astral plane has 25 levels of dimensions that you go through. So it's a little confusing, but it doesn't matter. It's just a name. If you hear something about, well, they're from the fifth dimension. I heard of a group that used to be called the fifth dimension, right? Anyway, so if they're from the fifth dimension, that's like the fifth plane. However, it could be the fifth level of the astral plane. Who knows just where they got that information from. It all comes from different levels. The higher the level, the more truth. That's how it is saying.
I have a question concerning all of this and everything that we've covered, because the argument often is, well, what makes this information right over other information? And all the religions argue with one another over who's right. Right and wrong is a big thing on earth as well. Could you elaborate on that and talk about why one should pay more attention to this information versus other information?
Only because it's been given to you at this time. It would not be given, we would know nothing about it, it would never be here if we weren't meant to start listening and paying attention to it. They say is to take this information, think about it for yourself and make your own decisions. You're in charge of your own life. So you make your decisions of what you want to do. If you still want to hang around with whatever you've got hanging around you, that's perfectly fine. They're not telling you you have to do anything. They're asking. And they're hoping very seriously that we will receive it as it's been given. They say there's no other information ever brought to the earth in the history of the earth in any kind of writings with more truth in it than these two books.
Well, what do you say to all the people who believe only in organized religion, or other spiritual people who believe in this many reincarnated or this many planes and they think they've been there?
Yes, there's all kinds of that. Especially the aliens. They have so many communications with so many different aliens.
And what would you say about that, though, Ron?
I would just simply say that now it's time to think differently. You've been taught that or told that or thought that in the past. Because the scientists say that they have found a new planet and they have a picture of it from the telescope. Does that make that real? It's a new planet? We have no idea what that is. We have no idea what its purpose is. But they will make up some theory, and then we're all supposed to believe it. Just because science says that we come from monkeys, and they think we come from the monkey that we know on Earth, and we've evolved through that down through the ape, as they said. Now they're telling us, yes, we do come from the ape, but not your Earth ape. We come from an ape that is called a Bigfoot. It comes from Mars. That's where our missing link is. It's only trying to give you the truth. What about the Bermuda Triangle? So many people think that the Bermuda Triangle is quite a mystery. It's not a mystery to the universe. The universe will tell you everything that happens there. It's a vortex. It's a vortex to enter the universe. And they draw planes or ships into this vortex. No one knows where exactly, but it's not charted because it's in a certain area, in quite a large area. But somewhere in that vortex, they draw it in, and they take the souls to the universe. It's their time to go home. They're calling them back home. And they take the plane only if the pilot allows it. If the pilot says he wants to dive, he feels it's time to go to dive. The plane dives deep in the ocean. We don't find them, if we ever find them, down in the ocean. And the soul goes to the universe. If the pilot does not have any inclination to dive the plane, because that's his choice, they take the plane in the universe, or the entire ship that disappears, and they take it into the universe and rematerialize it into junk, metal junk, and they drop it in one of our junkyards. Everything is recycled. And the souls are taken to the universe. Never been explained like that before, so But his books are full of information like that. So it's up to the individual. They want to accept it or reject it.
Right, so I guess
You know,
what I was
saying-
getting at is what makes something truth over something else, and what it has to be a decision from the individual and their acceptance of it.
Right.
But there is, what I'm getting at though, is there is a truth that is more real than others, because I've never heard a rap in church. I've never heard a rap in
No,
a
why would the
Buddhist
rap in
place.
church?
I've never heard a rap in any organized religion. I've only heard it here, and it's only being here doing this work that's
That's true.
taken me to different actual experiences with the supernatural and with the raps and seeing those lights. Never in any of those other things.
Well, the universe is telling us now that all these people through history that have been made into saints and holy roller people, whatever, from what they did, were nothing more than messengers sent to the earth to help, and at that particular time, to open minds and help people. Even Sister Teresa, she had come to teach the nuns, change their old ways. Everything is to change old ways and start thinking new. And some listen and some don't. And it's still part of the same message trying to be given all through history. And you just got to accept it. It comes from within. The answer to any question anyone has about the truth is in their own soul, or in their own heart. You've got to rap on that. Just now, I don't know if you can hear that on the tape, but there's a rap instinct in that. It comes from within us. So therefore, that is our way of accepting it, to weigh it within our common sense. Common sense is part of our mind, and our mind deciphers it to say, that does make sense.
Well, that's
and
why
it hooks up with the soul.
Well, that's why it never made sense to me in referring to nuns, and something we covered earlier is about not having sex, and how that, like with monks or nuns, like they don't have sex, but it never made sense to me that that could make somebody more
Holier. No. There's no one holy on person, no one person better than another person in this entire world, entire universe, and entire history of all souls. We are all souls growing and progressing at our own pace, and no one's better than another. They say you should not be worshiping anyone or looking up to another one to be such a great world leader or whatever, because they're no different than anyone else. They have their own lessons and they're learning, and it's all parts and parcels of how
Tell us about fame.
No fame.
About fame in the universe. There's no fame, right?
No fame, absolutely. All the saints that are made, they're just teachers that are there working. They came as teachers, and that's the fame that the Earth Church has made, making them a saint. It's an earth thing, an earth creation.
Same for actors, entertainers, any type of
No
fame.
matter how famous you were.
It only exists on Earth.
Huh? It's the greatest, doesn't matter. It's all part and parcel of souls making progress and coming to teach and help other souls. Souls helping souls, whether they're in the body or out of the body. It's the same thing, always, for all. So we look at these high master directors and these great teachers. We admire them because it's wonderful to have this contact with them. But they're no better than we are. We are just in the same, because we're all part of the same source. We're all part of the same God. Only the religions have separated that into the individual religions. They want to keep it to themselves. This is the way we think, and you better think our way or else, or whatever, you know. That's not the way it is.
It's all based in fear.
It's all fear. There's no such thing as fear, but fear itself. And that's a creation by man. And we create that fear. So that's another part where you could go back to healing, put it on your hands. Ask for all fear to be healed from you. All causes of fear, because there may be some pretty frightful things even from childhood yet that you're hanging on to and holding back from. And so you're going to get these kind of dreams, and dreams that you really need to pay attention are called nightmares. When you get something really scary or whatever in your dream, that's really pay attention to it. It's time to get this cleaned up. That's what the dream is telling you. It's time that you face it face on and realize it's not what you made it out to be, and ask for it to be healed. Just heal it and remove it. Help me to move on. Keep it all simple. Stop beating yourselves up for everything. Everybody beats themselves up. Like making guilt. Oh, wow, there's another one. Guilt. Hold your hands here and ask for all guilt to be removed. What about anger? The rage is in anger that comes out. Ask for that anger to be removed. There's so many things. How about patience? The greatest one to ever learn. Bring the patience. Heal all that impatience within me. Help me to be a patient person. How about us just asking for those things and watch how our life changes. Watch how everything changes around you. And how much help you'll get with it. It'll just be there in a natural way. Like you say, many times you ask for something or you're thinking of something and then all of a sudden you see a word or something, you're out there driving, see it on a license plate, or you'll see it on a poster, or you'll see it in a magazine when you're going out the check stand, or whatever, something that is bringing it all together. My gosh, for days I've been seeing that same thing. There's a message they're trying to get to me, something that means something. Something's going to come together in my life. How can I put these, just help me learn what it is. That's all. Don't get yourself all worked up about it. Just help me to really understand the message here. And let it come true. Let it come together. But it's advanced warnings and so forth, and they're always giving you this. To everyone. You don't have to believe to get them. You can be in any kind of religion, you're going to get the same stuff. No one is separated because of their religion. They only separate themselves from the rest of the world when they're in a religion and hold back their own progress. That's all.
But isn't there a ability to refine the information that you're getting? I mean, as I've done this work, I get it more and more clearly.
Right.
Messages come through clearly. My dreams change from, whatever kind of dreams I was having that I rarely remembered to always remembering, and the colors in my dreams change significantly. I dream in high definition now with very clear messages around family who've passed and issues I still have with those members, or great loving interactions with them in the dreams. But there's always things that they'll show me, I'll wake up and remember, and the fluorescent, high definition, beautiful colors that I experience now have occurred because of the work that I've been doing and going within myself.
That's right.
Whereas that didn't occur before. So I think there is a difference in ability to get information and, like moving up a ladder, being
That's
more
how
and
your
more
life
in
changes.
tune.
That's how everything changes in your life. See, what you're doing is unfolding. Unfolding your own soul like you're opening a flower, petal by petal. Or you're polishing a diamond. Another rung on the diamond, a little cut here, polish that, and let more of the light shine, polish this side a little more, and more of it shines. And it actually is there in an invisible way in a feeling around your aura. We have an auric field around us. And that's in the aura, so that when you meet people, sometimes they'll say, like a deja vu, haven't we met before? You may have met before you met that person in a dream. And it becomes very familiar to you. Or that person is just seeing the goodness that you have acquired in your growth pattern as you've been progressing. That light from your soul is now shining all around you. Animals see this light. That's how animals are brought to us. When we need the animal, it will come. When we need the teacher, it will come. That's the way everything is in life. As we're ready to receive, we will find it. We need something. You'll find these books, and you'll pick them up, and you'll say, my God, this is just overwhelming.
Just for the record, I was actually in an office having trouble with a computer, something simple, but I often reacted in anger when things weren't going my way, and I was slamming things around and saying, God damn this, and cussing and saying that I needed something different, I needed something more, and at that very moment I got a call from a friend of mine who was the person who referred me to Ron. And so even though I was in a low vibration and an angry state, I was asking in a very powerful way, and I got the phone call at that time, and then my life began to change.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's what there is. It's all going to come. It comes to everybody the same way. And if they find this, that's all better. If not, they've still got stepping stones to go through, and things, other books they may find that will help them a little bit farther, a step farther. And a lot of people go from philosophy to philosophy, religion to religion, because they're all trying to find answers, and they can't seem to find their answers anyway. It's interesting that this recent documentary was made with these couple of fellows. They took their camera and they went around the world, meeting up with all the world leaders of religions, of every kind of religion you could think of, and asked them to answer one simple question, if they could give to them the mystery of life. After finishing a 2-hour and over 2-hour documentary, not one could answer the question. They still had that same question. I said, I wish I'd have been on that video.
What would you have said if you had that option?
I would just say, the answer is within yourself. You're searching outside yourself. All over the world you're going, and you're searching from all these what said, who said, he said, this said, that said, all over the world, when it's all right within here. You've got to be searching within inside yourself. Inside yourself are the answers. And when you search inside, you'll be shown outside where to find those answers. And that's how you're taken to meet the right people come into your life and so forth, all that kind of stuff. And the answer is always there, always has been. And the more you develop in it, the more you realize that. And the more you learn, the more you'll realize that you haven't learned. There's so much more to learn. I'm just so grateful that I've learned this much now, because there's more. There's more coming all the time. As we grow and progress, we're constantly given more information. And you'll get things out of nowhere, and you'll say, I don't know how I ever got this information. Did I have a dream about this? Or how do I know these things? All of a sudden, you just kind of know. It's an inner knowing. Once you hit your inner knowing, you're connected with God. The God force, the energy force, the force, whatever you want to call it. I call it life. The life, it's the life force in your very own heart and soul. It's the real you. It's your life. So, because so many people think different of God's, the best is not to use the word God. Use the word life. Let life continue to bless you, instead of saying God bless you. Let life continue to bless you, because it is. It's always ever giving. Ever giving. It's never going to take from you. You may stop things for a while, and then go back on the track, and it's going to keep on giving. But yet there isn't a day that you don't have air to breathe. There isn't a day that you don't have your life source regenerated, because every night you have to have healing from the universe in order to get ready for another day. There's not a soul on this earth that can go through too many days without sleeping completely. They're pushing the limits. The body has to rest, and your mind has to rest, and you have to have communication steady from the universe. When you're sleeping at night, it's your soul speaking to the teachers, soul to soul, speaking to your guide, speaking to your loved ones, speaking to many other people that you've got things to work out with. And it's through their impressions that you're getting from that level that you get the dream. And that's why the dream is so hard to figure out, because it's now in the soul, which is in the inner knowing, and it has not been fully deciphered by the mind, because the mind's been taken away from that. The mind is not there to disturb it, to play ping pong with it, and throw it to this side of the brain, that side of the brain, and get it all confused. So that's why you get bits and pieces in your dreams. And they all make sense if you just allow them to, and you'll watch how things come along in the next few days, 2 weeks from there or whatever, and how things come together. And how you'll sit across the desk from someone and you say, gosh, I think I've been here before. It just sounds like I've done this interview
like
before.
deja vu.
Deja vu. That's what deja vu is. That's exactly what it is. I don't know how else to describe it to you, but it's there. Deja
And
vu.
do people have psychic ability?
Everybody. Every soul on this earth has psychic ability, whether they want to use it or not. They're doing it by listening to their impressions or not listening every day.
But can't some of
some that concentrate on and work with it, then they're more apt to receive better and give more information. However, you've got to be careful with psychic ability, because some of those people think they're getting from the universe, and they're just getting from earthbound souls wandering around, want to get a little attention.
So one would just do one simple thing, and I want to say this for the record because it's something that I know that will help other people, which is to make sure in anything you're doing, especially working with connecting to the universe, that you're asking constantly for the highest and the best, and there's no end to it, and
Right.
there's enough of the highest and the best for all of us. It's truly
Correct.
what we're asking for and really want.
And ask for the white light. Don't forget the white light.
Right.
And if you really want to help the universe do their work, get yourself a candle, one of those 7-day candles, the white ones, and just burn that candle while you're doing your work on your computer, or you're doing your writing, if you're writing something, or whatever you're doing in a work, if you can, in your home anyway. I mean, you can't do that in the office, but you ask in the office. Ask for the white light to be placed around me, my desk, my computer. Keep all negativity away, especially the floor. I don't want anything creeping in on the floor. You have no idea how many of these earthbound souls crawl the ground. They can't even stand up for their own rights yet, so they haven't learned that yet, so they're like animals crawling the ground. Their soul's crawling. And you'll feel them around your feet when you become a sensitive person like I am. And you get to that point, you can feel them. They're all over the place. And I have to then tell my high, wonderful Indian teacher to call in a courier, because that's what the couriers do, they work for teachers, call in a courier to get down there and cleanse the floor and seal